Nicole Scott here for Mobile Geeks, and you know I'm a huge Sony fangirl, so when they released the Xperia X at Mobile World Congress, I just had to know how it stacked up against my favorite, the Sony Xperia Z5. First of all, if you're wondering why there's no Z6, this is going to be the very last Sony Xperia Z series smartphone. They're going to be retiring it. It was a good soldier, but now we're on to more interesting lineup of products. So this is going to be the X. There's going to be an X Pro Professional, which is going to be their high end, and then there's an XA. But we're going to be taking a look at the X, which was launched here at Mobile World Congress, and we're going to see how it stacks up against the Z5. So here in the rose we have the Xperia X, and in the white is the Z5. First thing you're going to notice is, well, this is a metal back and this is a Gorilla Glass back. So you kind of have the frosted Gorilla Glass 4 here. To be honest with you, I'm a big fan of the move into metal, because if you've owned an Xperia phone, you'll know that you can crack the back and the front, which sucks. So we still have on the front here, we've got 23 megapixel cameras on both of them. The internal specifications are actually identical, which is great news because the Z5 had one of the best cameras of 2015. And so they've actually improved the software algorithms on the Xperia X, and they've actually included something called predictive autofocus. So if you're running, it'll focus where you think you're going to be. Now we have a separate comparison video of this in the rolling ball area over there, so I'm not going to dive into that here. But taking a walk around the system, we still have the micro SD card slot with the nano SIM, but you can see that they've actually decreased the size of the tray significantly. Right? If we just take these off here, you can see that there was a bit of dead space there, and the same over there. Oh, I just rebooted that phone. Right? So actually, this is more of a Z4 style of tray, and this is more of a Z5 style of tray. So that evolution, they've actually regressed on the Xperia Z series. Now let me plug that back in so I can turn this phone back on. It's running out of battery and we can't unlock it, but regardless, we're giving you a very nice untethered walkthrough. So here on the bottom you can see that we still have the micro USB, although they have dropped the lanyard. Around this side, all the things that I love are still here. Physical hardware button for taking photos, volume rocker, the power button. Sadly, they have dropped the fingerprint sensor on the X, which is unfortunate because I really felt like James Bond every time I opened the phone. I'd be here, I'd be like, what? Unlock. What? Unlock, right? With security. I thought it was great. So I'm actually quite sad that they've dropped that, but that's fine. Now let's keep on walking around because I haven't pointed out one of the main differences. Here we go. They've taken away the Xperia logo on the side. I am so happy about this. Honestly, this indentation here I thought was like a bacteria trap. You can see how it's kind of like grayish in there because I feel like it's got crud. So very happy that they've improved that. Now one of the other things that is different is that on the X series, this is actually a polycarbonate around the side, which I'm a big fan of because I actually feel like plastic around the edge of the phone is more durable than a metal banding around the end. So you can see here they've gone with polycarbonate on the corners, right, whereas they just have polycarbonate all the way the entire handset here. So now taking a look at the front of the phone, I'm actually going to switch to this one that's actually turned on here. There we go. Now I'm going to change the background on this so you can get a slightly better feel for what I'm talking about display-wise. So let's head to the same wallpaper. Now look at that, right? So if we really take a look at this triluminous display, both of these panels are 1080p, but the white on this is really, really white. This almost feels pink to me, right? I mean, the Sony display I was always a really big fan of, but the coloring on the new X series just seems so much better and brighter. So I'm going to tune these both all the way up. Oh, they are both all the way up, right? So just the display on this is just significantly improved. Now, if we just take a look at the OS, it looks the same. The X series is actually running Marshmallow, so let's just slip into that back in there. So Android 6.0.1. One of the other things that's interesting is if we take a look at the front of the handset here, we still have the same 8 megapixel camera on the front. We have a light sensor here as well. But on the X series, we actually have a significant improvement on what's going on with the lowlights. Now let's just take a quick look at the spec sheet. I did mention that this has a Snapdragon 650 processor, 3 gigabytes of RAM. This has a Snapdragon 810 processor, 3 gigabytes of RAM. This comes with 32 and 64. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah. Well, this is a 2900 milliampere battery. This is a 2620 milliampere battery. But with the Snapdragon 650 processor, I think that these are going to offer very similar performances. Because the 650 from Qualcomm was actually released at the end of 2015, which means that this benchmarks relative to where the 810 is. I mean, it's not the 820, which doubles the performance of the 810, but performance-wise, I think we're going to be seeing really good things from this phone. It may have a mid-range processor name, but in terms of performance, I think you're going to be really happy. Now, this is where I was actually going with this. The front-facing camera on this has an ISO of 6400, so this is actually going to give you really good low-light performance. Wide-angle lens on the front. You have a great Exmor lens here as well, and on the back, like I mentioned, we have a predictive hybrid autofocus. Now, let's actually just pull up the cameras on these so that you can get a bit of a sense of what's going on. All right, so. All right, and then let me just put the front-facing camera on here so you can get an idea of what's happening there. All right, so here's me. You can see that the wide angle on the Xperia X is much better. You can see how I'm much closer on the Z5, and here I'm further back. I have a wider range of view. Now, if I put these into landscape, you can see that I'm really getting a lot more background and my face and my entire chest actually on the X series. So the front-facing camera on this significantly brighter. You can see that my face is really lit up. The skin tones look very natural. Whereas on the Z5, this was always a good front-facing camera on the Z5, but it just doesn't look as bright as what we have on the X series. So I mean, like if you're looking at specs, it's the same, but if you look at real-world performance, it's significantly different. All right, now let me just pull up. Hey, get back here. Get back here. All right. So now we've taken. Oh, come on, Z. All right. So we've taken 2 comparison photos, and to be honest with you, looking at the color accuracy, I think the X series is doing a lot better. So it is all about software processing on these things, and you can see that there's actually a wider angle. Oh no, I'm just taking it off. I said it's probably about the same. So now let's zoom in on this guy on both of them. Looks good. He looks good. I mean, so like, if you're familiar with the Z5 camera, you won't be disappointed on the X series. We have no word on pricing, so I can't tell you how excited I am about the Xperia X in terms of its competitiveness for quality of camera as well as, you know, the general price point. But having said that, I am a huge Sony fan, and the fact that the Z line is being retired, this seems like a really good replacement for me. I'm glad that they're able to drop the Gorilla Glass on the back. Sometimes when you change a line name, you're able to let go of some of the things that maybe weren't so hot in the beginning, like having a back on a phone that can break. And I am sad that it's not waterproof. Actually, that's going to be my one big takeaway, because I do like taking my phone to the bar where I spill stuff. So maybe I'm going to have to find a new, more bar-friendly phone, but the fact that this doesn't have a glass back is definitely a big plus. So let me know in the comments if you have any other questions comparing these 2 phones. I'm at Mobile World Congress all week, so I'll be able to come back and do follow-up videos. So if you want me to do stuff here, let me know in the comments. Nicole Scott from Mobile Geeks, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss additional videos about all the devices here.